Hello ukulele bandit. So today we're going to be looking at What Should We Do with a Drunken Sailor, which is a very popular song around these parts. We live near the sea, around about summertime we have our boat festivals and a lot of drunken sailors appear, and this does get played quite a bit. So what a great one for my ukulele club to learn to play when we do our little gigs and concerts, and what a good one for anyone to play that's starting out. It's D minor and C, so it's just two chords, and we're going to break those chords down and we're going to look at the rhythm and the mechanics and a little bit of detail, but we want to mainly keep it simple. So if we look at the sheet here, we've got Drunken Sailor. That's our tuning, which is the standard tuning for C major. I'll put it at 120 bits, nice like standard tempo to keep this at, and it actually works quite well. It could be played a lot quicker. In fact, that's what normally happens. We play it nice and slow, and then it just gets quicker and quicker until everyone's dancing and falling over, which is fantastic fun. So here we've got D minor, our first chord. And these chord diagrams are the most important things to pay attention to. D minor and C. Once you've got those chord shapes, it's just a matter of getting the mechanics of the rhythm right. Now it does look a little bit complicated if you're new to this, but I have explained this in some of my videos and live sessions before, how to read these, and I do think this is very useful. This is called tablature, and basically what we have is 4 lines representing the strings, and the numbers on it are where you're placing your fingers on what strings, and the numbers of the frets. And we have explained this a little bit before on the frets of these bumps and etc, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the D minor chord. The D minor chord is the first finger down here on the E string on the first fret, second finger goes up on the G string on the second fret, and the third finger underneath on the C string, and that is on the second fret, and that's our D minor chord. And it should sound something like this. So if it does, you're doing all right. If it doesn't, check your fingers again, make sure you're getting that shape right. And that's the chord that we need to play. It needs to sound a little bit like that and nice and clean. And once you've got that sussed, it's just applying some rhythm. C, I presume you will know by now, because it is like the first chord you're going to learn, and it is just a one note, so it's just the third finger down here. You notice it says 1 down there, it's incorrect, it should be the third finger. And I've tried changing it several times and the program keeps changing it back, so whatever. I'll just tell you, it's the third finger on the first string, and that's the C chord. So really cool. So D minor and C, nice easy chords. And if we look at the rhythm, this is what the rhythm looks like when it's written in music. Now normally you'll see them with like dots. We have a sort of names for each of these notes, which are crotchets and quavers. We can still call it that if we want, but we're going to name them in terms of what we're going to do with the stroke. So if we take a bar, which is this line to this line, that's a small measure of music, and the idea is a bar in this case is represented by 4 beats. That's why we have 4 here at the beginning. It tells us it's 4 beats per bar, and normally when we've done this before in songs, we would, if we want to play it simply, we just strum 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Now I'm playing 4 beats, and if I was to do 1 bar of 4 beats, 1 2 3 4, that's what it would look like. And this is showing you that that space of time is between there and there. Now the rhythm in this song is slightly different. We have some down up strums in here, and the first beat that we have, which is this one here, which is our crotchet if you want to be musical about it, and these two, which are quavers, will be a down up strum. And by doing a down up, we're getting 2 quicker beats in the pattern. So instead of doing 4 down strums, we're actually getting a down down up in the place of that second down, down down up. It doesn't matter too much if you find this a little bit complicated to read and understand the musical mechanics, if you like, of it. But the most important thing is, the theory is not important. The most important thing is copying what I do, getting the strum right, getting the pattern right. We can pick all these other things up later. So concentrate more on getting the D minor chord and then getting the strumming right. So it's down, down, up, down, down, up. But I'll always explain it, I'll always have it there, because some people might cotton onto it and it is quite useful, and if you're interested in learning more advanced pieces, this is definitely a way that will help. So down, down, up, down, down, up. That's all that means. We've got 1 strum there, down, down, up, down, down, up. That's what that bar of music between that line and that line are doing. So down, down, up, down, down, up. The second bar, bar along, you can see we've got this bar line here and that bar line there is just a standard 4 beats that I was talking about earlier. Down, 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 down. So the 2 bars together will go something like this. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 down. And you can already hear, what shall we do with the drunken sailor? It's mimicking the words, so it's great. You know, this rhythm is a good one to pick up and a nice one for you to sing and play along with at the same time. So that should be fairly straightforward. Copy that. Now, if you want to look at what I'm doing with my hands, so if you like, my wrist is very loose. I just keep it sort of anchored, if you like, to the body on the side here, and my wrist is very, very loose. But at the same time, what I do is I keep the first finger, I'm pointing out, you could use the thumb, you can use the first finger, you use picks, you know, there's many ways of doing it. This is just the standard way, if you like. So we stick that first finger out, and my nail is going to strike through the strings. Now, I don't want to be too far down that I dig in and I get a really hard sound and really a lot of resistance. It's really difficult to actually play through the strings if I do that. I want to just scrape the strings, but not so lightly that I get a scratch and hardly any sound. It's got to be so the nails cut through the strings and the wrist pushes it through. Now you see that as I move the wrist, it turns. If I was going to do an up, it would just reverse. The wrist just moves back and forward. It rocks like that. I don't want to exaggerate. I don't want to like push my arm through at all. I don't want to put too much force into it. It's got to be nice and loose and comfortable. And if you get used to that, just moving that wrist, and it's hard to control it at first, but like I say, I'm anchoring my arm here, the side of my arm, just ever so slightly, just where the wrist is, just below the wrist. It makes it much more comfortable. And you see, actually, a lot of instruments will have a curve there as well, and that's what that's for, is to give you some sort of anchor point. And they do it on Fender Strats and electric guitars and things like that. But I've seen it actually on ukuleles as well. So yeah, there you go. So we've got down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 down. So that's the chord strum for D minor. It's also the chord strum for C. Exactly the same thing. So there you go. All you got to do is play a C, play exactly the same rhythm, 2 bars, 2 lots of rhythm, and then on the third bar, D minor, exactly the same. Woohoo! Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 down. Good stuff. And then if we look at the last bar, this is the last thing, and this is the last bit, and then it's just played over and over and over again. Like I said, slowly, and you can build up the speed as you go along. So you've got the C chord, down, 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 down. So we're not doing the down, down, up, down, down, up, down. We're just doing 4 straights down, and then the D minor 4 straight down, and that will repeat. Now the great thing is this program will play the music, and I'll play along with it as well, and I'll call out what's happening so you can see. Let's give ourselves a little metronome count in as well. 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 and then it just go around and round and round and round. That's it really. That is how to play what should we do with the Drunken Sailor. That's the rhythm, they're the chords, and it's just a question of getting that obviously up to speed and smooth and getting between the chords. So it's not really simple if you're starting out, but it's a good stepping stone in getting you to play linking chords together. And D minor is incredibly close to an F, so I've got D minor and I left the finger off. So if you're struggling with C to F, this is definitely going to help with that, because it's just 1 finger difference. So it's another chord that we can practice changing between. So, and because it's focusing on just those 2 chords, it gives you some chance. Obviously, you can also use that 4 beats gap. So I love a little tip. If I was doing D minor to C and I was struggling getting back to the D minor, so you know, I'm putting my fingers in early. I'm trying to keep the strum going, and I'm putting the finger in that last bar of the C. I was putting my fingers early, so you can move your fingers in to get yourself in time. And as you get quicker, you will need less time, and there'll be less of a gap. And and that will sound more and more musical that way. If we stop, you can hear it's a musical gap. It's obvious that you're stopping. So always try and work on keeping the rhythm going and the music going as much as you can. Okie dokie. So onwards and upwards. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hop over to the words and put it together so you can see how that would work. And obviously don't get too obsessed about the rhythm. If you struggle with it a little bit but it sounds like the song, and you may get those some down ups in places where they might not be in the actual rhythm exercise, try and get the rhythm right. But when you're singing along, it's sometimes quite easy to put an extra up strum in and put downs where it should be a down up. That's absolutely fine, because when you're playing them with people, it will still sound very good and in time and rhythmic. But I'm going to apply that rhythm, apply what I did to that first chorus line, and then it would just go on for the whole song doing that as well anyway. And there is a play along on my list anyway, on my playlist, and you can find a great play along on, if you just look for it, Drunken Sailor play along on YouTube. So, what shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? So that's in essence what you're going to do for the whole song. So there you go. So we've got our chords and our rhythm, and once you've learned that, you just apply it to the words, and the words pretty much follow the rhythm anyway, so it's fairly straightforward when you're learning. I realise there's a few things in there that might catch you out when you're changing chords and trying to keep it going and keep the music going, but once you get the gist of it, it's a really good gig in a group, because you start off nice and slow and then you get quicker and quicker, and if people dance and they generally fall over, and then obviously when you're playing it tends to sound like a mission noise and people can't keep up with the speed. It's just a bit of a laugh. So just to give you a little bit of that first verse again. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises early in the morning. I don't know why I do it like that, but I do. But the point of it is, it's good fun. It's quite a simple one. The rhythm, break it down, go over those chords, and you've got yourself another simple 2-chord tune that you can have a bit of a laugh with. And I will see you very soon for our next adventure, whatever it may be. Take care.